Today is a shower day here on Lumi. Except that we don't have a shower yet. The shower compartment is not ready. It's supposed to be in here, but it's not really fully built yet. So we have instead a bucket and some hot water here brewing on the diesel stove. And as an added bonus, it's absolutely awful weather here outside. We are waiting out a storm. The water is like maybe +7 degrees.
En tiedä, oliko toi järkevä idea tässä vaiheessa.
Oliko kylmää?
Oli.
Mukavaa! Alright, the next portion is going to be without a swimsuit, so the cameras are going to be off. But yeah, it's absolutely awful weather here. I think it's just on the verge of kind of starting to snow. I'm all for comfort, so I'm going to take a different approach to this. So Sohvi gets to laugh at me while I'm going to shower here inside the Dodger. I've removed the reindeer pelt from this side, and I've put some dry decking here. I can sit on top of that, and I can sit here and have a nice shower.
Lol. Pussy.
Get ready for this. Let's go, let's go. Eikä. Pikkukoppiin. That was good, that was a nice shower. I still need to shave though, but I'll give you a bit of a sneak peek of what we do here during these off days. So Sohvi obviously is working, and then we have some cooking going on. Gonna eat some tortillas in just a second. And then otherwise it's a little bit messy because we are drying all of our sailing gear and all of our clothes. And we had both of the heaters going when we were showering, but now we just have the diesel stove here. And I'm also doing some boat projects, so we have all the tools here as well. And then I'll show you the bow cabin. This is where we are sleeping right now, and we are drying up the bedding. You're going to get some condensation under your mattress no matter what you do, so that's why we put them up every now and then like this, just to get all of the moisture out. And this fan here helps really quite a bit for that. I was gonna take these fans out because they are primarily intended for, being in warm places, and I guess one of the previous owners used those fans for that, just to bring some air in here when it's like really hot. But they really circulate the air quite well, so we are keeping them for now and using them for drying instead. And other than that, I'm also just now gonna go and sit at my laptop and work. and translate and edit some videos. And that is how we spend most of our nights and many of our days too. What we do on our laptops is pretty typical office work in many ways, but we feel really thankful and special to be able to go to bed and wake up in places like this. Now it's time to continue our voyage north towards Alaska and some skiing. It's a pretty nice sailing day, but I can see why it was pretty cold yesterday when we were bathing, because now when I look at the hills, there is snow up on the hills and the snow line is actually quite close to the sea. And that's good because we want to continue and go as far north as needed to get the snow line all the way down to the sea and have enough snow so that we can go skiing directly from the boat or by using a dinghy and then climb up the mountains and ski down. That's what we were doing in Norway and Iceland, and that's what we want to do over here as well. But right now our next obstacles are going to be the Reed Passage. The Reed Passage is a very rocky, kind of tight passage. Only small craft can go through, and we are going to take it because the seas outside are really big right now, so that way we can avoid some of the roughest seas. But it's gonna be interesting going through here because it looks narrow and there is some current in there as well. You might notice that I did shave, by the way. I'm unable to grow a proper beard, so I have to keep shaving, which is kind of annoying. Also annoying is the weather and the wind, because they are changing all the time right now. Like we have within 20 minutes such different lighting conditions and wind conditions, and I don't have a problem with that, except for, well, let me tell you a secret. It's just a problem for filming these videos, because when I take footage of us sailing and so on, you know, I try to set a scene, I try to set a mood, and it's difficult when the light keeps changing all the time, because I can't physically get enough footage from the same lighting conditions to build like one nice scene. It gets a little bit complicated, and then when the wind is changing, you know, suddenly, you know, we are going downwind, wing on wing, but suddenly we are, you know, on starboard tack, and then the wind changes and there's a jibe and we are on port tack, and the sail keeps changing sides, and it becomes very confusing for the viewer. You know, just the fact that the light changes between shots, you might not like kind of knowingly notice it, but your brain doesn't understand what's happening when it's suddenly like looks completely different than it did in the previous shot. And here's just a great example of what I was talking about earlier. 20 minutes ago I was talking to the camera and it was nice and sunny. Now it's really gloomy and raining hard. And 20 minutes ago we were doing 3-4 knots. Now we are zooming at 7.5 at times. And then I know what's gonna happen after this rain shower. The wind is gonna die down and we're gonna jibe and so on. That's the first boat that we see in 3 days. Fishing boat coming up. I don't think it's fishing season right now. I think they're probably changing areas, maybe going to Oregon or something, I don't know. Reed Passage, let's see what you got. I think this one's going to be pretty straightforward. You just go straight through there. There's a rock in the middle, don't hit that, and that's pretty much it. Right now there might be some current because I'm not hitting this at slack tide. According to my information, the current here shouldn't be that great, so the tide is actually now ebbing. But yeah, I guess at this point though I should concentrate a little bit on the navigation instead of speaking to the camera all the time. I don't want to end up being like one of these people who you find in the news headlines saying, you know, he was too busy taking a selfie, so he drove his boat onto the rocks. Let's not do that, because the rocks are, you know, they are somewhat close, you know, on the shore. It's pretty near. Today we are anchored here in the middle of nowhere again, and we are going to be setting up what's hiding underneath all of that crap over there. The best dinghy in the world, or at least that's what I believe it to be, for our use. We just need to dig it out first. Woo.
Yeah.
The good thing about a dinghy like this is, of course, that you can store it like this in a lazarette and it's not in your way when you are sailing offshore, so you can put it away, and that's one of the qualities that I was looking for when we were searching for a dinghy. Now if I measured this correctly, it's going to fit here on the foredeck. This segment was done in collaboration with TrueKit, and this is their Navigator 300 dinghy. It's special in many ways, and I'll tell you a bit more about why we chose exactly this one. So while I'm doing my workout here, let me tell you a little bit about the dinghy. This is a catamaran inflatable, so it has a flat bottom which is a little bit above the water when the whole thing is fully pumped up and when you are under outboard power, so you have very little friction on the water, and you're supposed to be able to go quite fast with quite small engines, and that goes together with the whole idea of this dinghy because it's extremely light. I think the whole thing is 32 kilos if I remember correctly, and the lightness of this thing is a big part of the reason why we chose this, because unlike most people or unlike a lot of other cruisers, we really need a dinghy that we can actually carry up and down the shores, or that we can at least wrestle up and down like really rocky and bouldery shores. And I think that's like a massively underappreciated thing about dinghies is if your dinghy is light enough, then you can go ashore in these places with large tidal differences, and you can leave the dinghy up on the shore, and then when you come back and the tide has gone down, you can still get it back into the water. If you have one of these really huge rigid inflatable dinghies that are also really heavy, then you won't be able to do that. And I'm going to give you a full disclaimer about this dinghy being a kind of a test product for us. So we did get it at a steep discount, but it's like something that I specified myself. So I wanted to have this particular dinghy, the Navigator 300, and I contacted TrueKit and I told them, hey, do you want us to make a video about the dinghy and see how we like it or whether we like it? So we got a deal, and now we're going to see how we like it. So we are going to test this thing out and give you our honest opinion. Now let's put the bottom in. So you first fill up the tubes like halfway or a little bit more, and then you put the inflatable bottom in. So now that we have it filled up, there's some of the things that are pretty obvious to me compared to the other inflatables that I've had before. First are the seams, which are welded and they look like super clean. And then this one comes with these really good Rail Plaza mounts for oars. So these are super sturdy, and that's important for us because we like to row as well. And then we have these attachment points for our davits. So when you order a dinghy from TrueKit, it's a pretty small company, so you can ask for customizations, and we asked for these lifting points so we can lift it up onto the davits at the stern of the boat. And so now, because this thing is pretty light, we don't need anything special to put it in the water. We just plop it in like this. We just lift it up and kind of throw it in. That's gonna be it. I don't think it's going to look elegant, but it will be possible at least. So today we are only going to get a rowing demonstration because our outboard here, it was donated to us and it's an old two-stroke, and I have to service it first. I don't know if it runs or not. You have a lot of space here inside, so there's a lot more space here than in a normal inflatable of the same size. I think this is around the same size inside or a little bit bigger than what I had on Sylvia, and on Sylvia the inflatable was 330 centimeters long, so that's around 10 feet, and this is 300 centimeters, so that's 1 foot less, and this one's also 15 kilograms, so 30 pounds lighter. Of course, there are also downsides to a really light dinghy like this, and one of them might be the durability. But I think this one, especially because you are able to lift it instead of dragging it, I think it's going to do pretty well. And obviously, it's obvious that it's a quality product, you know, so that makes a difference. And then here at the bottom of the pontoons, there are these really sturdy wear or abrasion pads here that should resist any kind of puncture. So my earlier experience with inflatable dinghies like this has actually been pretty positive in terms of durability. They take a lot of abuse, and I hope that this one will as well, but of course that's going to be more of a long time test and we will report back with our findings. And the other thing is that we haven't been able to test now is of course the outboard. We need to put the outboard on this thing and see how she does with an outboard, because that's going to be the kind of the actual specialty of this boat. Because of the reduced friction, you can use this really small outboard and you can still get up on a plane. I'm going to say it again, the lightness of this whole package is just like a really huge deal for us. The fact that we can get it up the beach and down the beach easily, and we can pack it up and put it in the lazarette. We don't need to leave it on the forward deck for big ocean passages. And also when we have our davits set up, it's going to be easy to lift up on the davits, and it's not going to cause a lot of load on the davits because our stern arch, it's not really sturdy. So a lot of cruisers, they think, hey, what's like the biggest dinghy, the biggest tender that we can fit or that we can afford to buy? And our philosophy is kind of the opposite. Ours is like, what's the smallest and lightest that we can get away with? And I think just the way I think it's going to make like things easier, less stress on your gear, less stress on your davits, just easier to handle. So that's it. Let's go back. Maybe Sophie will let me row. I don't know. Are you going to let me row?
Yeah, but you have to be fast. I'm very hungry.
Okay. Vlogging dinghy, because you can hold the camera with one hand and you can hold the dinghy with the other hand. We'll report back on how the dinghy survives the winter and our sharp ski edges. Thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing if you enjoyed this one. And as always, check out the Patreon page if you would like to contribute financially. We'll continue our journey north in the next video. See you all then. Bye bye.